This is John Ryman of Oakland Socialist again. This is the second part of my series on the Putinization of the left. In this presentation, I will be discussing the Syrian revolution and how the Putinized left has collaborated with the far right, including racists, nationalists, and all sorts of other bigots and reactionaries, in effectively defending the counter-revolution in Syria. The Syrian revolution was a popular revolution from below, in which the masses of the people fought to rid themselves of a self-serving and repressive dictatorship. It was part of the Arab Spring, which was a series of similar revolutions throughout the Arab world. The claims that the Syrian revolution was a U.S.-imposed attempt at so-called regime change are Putinist lies that discount the role of the Syrian masses. Starting around 2014, Putin intervened, and together with Assad, they orchestrated a vicious counter-revolution. Despite their worst efforts, the Syrian revolution lives on, and there are still protests in Syria to this very day. We will see here how the Putinized so-called left was further drawn into the far-right orbit around Putin and Assad. There's plenty of information available on this revolution, including from Layla al-Shami, Yassin al-Haj Saleh, and on my blog site Oakland Socialist. And I urge those who are not really familiar with this important revolution to check out these sources and others. Most of the far right, including overt racists, nationalists, and other bigots, have supported Assad. Many of the racist Unite the Right marchers in Charlottesville were pro-Assad. David Duke, former Ku Klux Klan leader, has visited Syria as a guest of Assad. And Tucker Carlson helped cover up for Assad's war crimes. Throughout Europe, far-right groups like Italy's fascist Casa Pound support Assad. The Greek fascist Golden Dawn, Poland's National Rebirth, the British National Party. Together, they have formed a far-right coalition called the European Solidarity Front for Syria. The former leader of the National Rally, previously the National Front, Alain Soral, supports Assad. Putin himself has actually helped finance that party and its representative Marine Le Pen. In September of 2019, Assad held a meeting and tour for the nationalist far-right National Rally Party of Marine Le Pen. This is a picture of that meeting in Syria. Now here's where the so-called left comes in, because just 1 week after Assad's meeting with the National Rally, he sponsored a tour of U.S. so-called lefts. On that tour were Paul LaRuti of the pro-Palestine International Solidarity Movement, Ajamu Baraka of the Green Party and Black Agenda Report, Max Blumenthal of the so-called independent journalist whom we met in our previous video slideshow, and another so-called independent journalist, the pro-Assad Rania Khalek, whom we will meet again. I give you a minute to study these names and faces. Don't forget them. In my previous video, I mentioned that conference of the Anti-Globalization Movement of Russia, or AGMR, which was attended by many so-called lefts who weren't bothered at all by the fact that racists and other fascists were also at that conference. It was the same with this tour in Syria. These same lefts, so-called, weren't at all bothered by Assad's ties to the far right, including their visit just 1 week prior. Before we close, we have to mention the horrific crime of Assad in his use of sarin gas on the people in Ghouta, which resulted in the deaths of babies like these. The Putinized left have disgraced themselves even further, if such a thing were possible, by claiming that it was not Assad who is responsible. The website Bellingcat has done careful forensic research which decisively proves that it was Assad and Assad alone. To conclude, despite the horrific repression and crimes against humanity, and despite its derision by the Putinized left, the Syrian revolution lives on. It is the responsibility of all those who care about humanity, no less for all true socialists, to support the Syrian revolution. Part of that support must be to help expose those who pose as being on the left, but who in reality join with the far right in supporting a counter-revolution. For more on this and other in-depth analyses, see my blog site, oaklandsocialist.com.